Marty, here he is, Pendles.
It had to happen, I guess. It's your first visit in after a loss.
I know.
You've been on a roll.
We have been.
I mean, more than a roll. You've been absolutely dominating. What happened? Run me through it. 11-11-77 to 7-8-50. Just couldn't get on a roll?
Yeah, I feel like they defended us really well, and even to a certain extent, I feel like we defended them really well. It was just a defensive struggle, and they were able to make the most of their chances a bit better than us in the first half. They defended that ground really well, and we were a bit stagnant. And I felt like we kept trying, we kept coming, we kept throwing punches, but even in the last quarter, we just couldn't connect the final piece of the puzzle and put some scoreboard pressure on. And it felt like all day they had us at sort of arm's reach. Every time we would try and mount a challenge, they'd find a way through like Buddy or Isaac Heaney to find a way to get a goal out the back or an easy goal for them. So no, it was a very enjoyable game to play, and the crowd was amazing. Perfect day for footy.
Yeah. Bit of sickness through the week, though, for you blokes. Not that we're making excuses, but bit of lethargy around the group?
We had a fair few guys with blocked noses and stuff like that, but it doesn't really stop you from running and tackling. So
no.
But it was, as I said just before, it was a cracking game to play, and the crowd, I think there was like 45,000 people there. And
third biggest SCG crowd ever.
Yeah, sold out like real early in the week, and the atmosphere was amazing. So good experience for us on the road to play in a game like, basically like a finals-like game now. So, disappointing we didn't get the result, but don't walk away with our heads down. We're excited.
Jack Ginnivan was booed?
Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, I think he did his hamstring or had hamstring awareness.
And that's when they booed him after he was injured?
I think it come up on the big screen, didn't it? He was sitting in the back row and he got booed. I'm sure people didn't. I would like to think
they didn't
people didn't know that he'd been subbed out and he'd hurt his hamstrings.
They must have. He had the tracksuit top on, and he wasn't out there.
And was he being booed because he'd been milking for a free earlier in the game?
He got tackled. I think just before he come off, he got tackled high. Yeah. And it was I don't know. I feel like it's weird to say. I feel like it was a legitimate high free kick. And he got his head ripped off.
Yeah.
Which is almost play on. So, and then kicked the goal, and then maybe it was carryover effect from that, but. Yeah, I'd like to think the people out there wouldn't boo an injured player.
You would hope
Surely not.
Taylor Adams on Twitter labelled the Sydney crowd as grubs. That was the word he used.
Tay gets fired up at the best of times. So,
grubs, emotional language. Yeah. What did you notice, Will?
I loved the moment. Was it in the third quarter? Your intercept that led to a goal coming the other way. Did you hit up my check on the lead?
No, Mason.
It was Mace. That's
Mason,
right.
Yeah. It's funny. We'd been having shots from about 40 during the day, and we just weren't making the distance. I don't know if you noticed that. We had about 3 or 4 that fell short on the goal line. There was a bit of a breeze there, and when Coxie marked it, I thought, here's another one, and he can kick at the best of times about 30 metres, and he went back from 50 and smashed it through.
Slotted it.
Yeah, what's going on here? We've got guys who can't kick 40, and then the big American slots one from 50. So, even then I thought we were going to make a little bit of a run. I think they got the next centre bounce clearance, kick to goal, and it's like, Jesus. And we had 3 guys fly for a mark or spoiled each other, and then it's just Sydney on the ground. So one of those frustrating days where it's just nothing. They didn't allow us to click at all, much at all.
But that intercept itself, that was like peak awareness of the situation. Were you anticipating that short kick was going to come? Because you were just sort of crouching behind your opponent. And then...
Well, I'm not the fastest guy, so I've got to do it by a bit of stealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of was just trying to read Buddy's eyes where he wanted to kick it because he's such a good field kick.
Yeah.
And, I think I had one earlier in the day where I kicked it inside and probably had a little bit more float on it than I thought, and then they turned it over and kicked the goal, and it's almost the same with his. The kick was on, I think the ball just sat up a little bit for me, and then Mason was right there, so it was a pretty easy kick. But as I said, we couldn't get it on a roll though.
It's going to make for an exciting weekend, which we can come back and talk about. But let's just have a quick look at the round. Anything catch your eye, Pendles? Richmond Hawthorn looked pretty easy. Of course, Melbourne Carlton is the big one.
Yeah, that was where I'm too tired to stay up and watch, but I watched the last 2 minutes the next morning when I was having a coffee, and it seemed like, I think Simon Goodwood said it, like that's 2 finals in a row now that they feel like Melbourne have played, and I feel like a lot of sides that are around the mark are getting some finals-like games before the finals start. And it's from all reports, it was an amazing game. The finish by Keziah Pickett was a fair finish. It was getting pulled down by his
he was under the
opponent,
pump.
Stunning.
Yeah, and then somehow managed to get it through. So, it's the ecstasy and agony of sport in the last sort of 20 seconds of a game.
But you could tell that kid's a natural, the way he followed the flight of the ball, the way he got in front of that pack, he waited, then he attacked.
It's almost like how he set it up. It's like if this falls here, I need to be here, but I don't need to be there now. So he looked, and the finish too. You've got to. It's always funny, but it's all good and well. But if you can't finish that play, no one's really talking about it.
Yeah, that's right.
The finish was unbelievable.
Scott Pendlebury with us, mate.
Yes, Pendles next weekend. I mean, you couldn't have scripted it. There's so many possible outcomes and permutations. We've just been talking about them off air, starting with Brisbane, Melbourne on Friday night. How does that one end up, Will?
Well, that's effectively the biggest game of the home and away season in terms of ladder movements. So the winner of that can finish as high as second, and the loser can finish as low as sixth. So it's the difference between a home double chance final or an elimination final against someone like Richmond, which is carnage.
Yeah, they're playing really well, aren't they, Richmond?
Yeah.
They're exciting. But
that would be crazy that Melbourne could finish sixth.
Yeah, it's just how even the competition is. I think Geelong's the only side that can't move their position.
Yeah, they've guaranteed minor premiership.
Yeah, so they're going to stay on top, but everyone else can go from second. Like all the spots can change, I think, regarding on depending on results. Even like St Kilda are still a chance to come in if results go their way. So
let's not gloss over North Gold Coast Saturday 2:10 at Marvel. If you've got nothing on, you're mad if you don't stick your head in there for half an hour or so. But moving on.
I feel like this is a round for all the people that did the ladder predictor for 20 weeks and looked at all the possible outcomes. Or here they are, and have fun this round.
Here they are.
Cracking games.
So run us through, William, Hawthorn Bulldogs, Carlton, Collingwood, and what those outcomes can be.
Yes, so the Bulldogs, as their percentage is pretty close to Carlton, almost identical. If they beat Hawthorn and then Carlton lose to Collingwood, they are in the finals.
Right.
Depending as long as they win by 2 or more goals or so.
Right, it's that tight.
It's that tight. But because Brisbane play Melbourne, that means that a top 4 spot opens up for Collingwood if they beat Carlton because they are on equal points from between second and fifth.
We control our own destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could finish in the top 4.
Yeah, I think if we win, we're certain to finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
Is it as important these days with the bye round leading into the finals to finish in that top 4?
I don't think it's important as it used to be because, as you said, you wouldn't get that bye round. So you go into finals now feeling really fresh, but I would still I feel like every side, you want the double chance. You want that opportunity to give yourself the best chance. So,
because we were talking about, who was it that played like one game in 21 days?
It was Collingwood in 2019.
Yeah, that's
because of the bye round.
Played, won the first final.
Beat Geelong.
Yeah. It actually,
that's a big break.
Yeah, it is, and it's a tough one. I think Geelong said that before us that they had done it as well. They had sort of 2 years in a row, they won their first final. And they were playing around with ways. I think they had an intra-club game before a prelim because they were like, we don't know what gets us ready. And you've seen it plenty of times, even last year. I think the Bulldogs come out and smash Port Adelaide over there. And Port Adelaide played one game in 21 days. So it's a tricky one, but I'd rather be in that situation getting ready for a prelim than the alternate, which is trying to win 4. If you can just win them out and hopefully win 3, you're laughing.
Yeah.
And they're saying they could get 90,000 at the G on Sunday.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be pretty topical this week if I go get coffee anywhere or whatever. It's going to be a big game on Sunday.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of that.
Oh yeah, I'm sort of not a mood killer, but I'm always just like, well, my son wants to go for a dinosaur hunt today, so I'm worried about trying to figure out how we do a dinosaur hunt today. Then worry about Sunday. So I'll worry about Sunday on Sunday.
Yeah, worry about Sunday on Sunday because a lot of the young kids, and I know I've talked to you about this in the past, a lot of the young kids will have played half of this game by the time they get to Sunday.
Yeah, and I think that's the trick in it is, it's going to be a big game, lots of people, everyone's going to be excited. But for us, it starts at 3:20. There's 4 quarters. Let's just do what we do and enjoy it, have fun. But yeah, don't stress yourself out about it before it comes. As you said, otherwise you'll start that first quarter and it'll feel like you're deep in the third quarter already.
Are you a nerve? Do you get nerves?
Sometimes.
What does it feel like for you?
Probably just that your legs feel a little bit heavy and. I always know in the warm-up if I feel a little bit nervous, and then I usually listen to music and stuff before the game, and that sort of just calms me down. And once I get there, I'm all right. But sometimes I get a little bit nervous. Sometimes I don't. Couldn't tell you when they're going to come.
Who you got in the headphones?
Oh, I'm not a really big music person, so whatever me and my wife share, like a joint Spotify, so whatever she's been loading.
Yeah.
I was
Casey
just listening to
Chan,
that.
Chambers, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Little bit
yeah.
of-
I was.
I'm not pretty
Sorrento
enough.
Moon was on yesterday.
Oh, that's fun.
You've seen it.
Yeah, that was before the game. So
One
I
of the
don't know if
great
that's-
tracks.
Don't know if that's a pump up song, but I didn't mind listening to that.
It's
a
Tiny
distraction.
Tina Arena.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
not too many blokes going into a game that would be listening to Sorrento Moon. It has to be
Yeah,
said.
yeah. So,
So Collingwood and Carlton, it's probably the most famous rivalry in footy. But in your time, you probably haven't played a game as big as this because you haven't played a final against Carlton since the 80s.
no.
So does this feel like the biggest occasion that these two clubs are going to have since you've been around?
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be because there's so much on the line for both clubs. Like they can play for finals. We're playing for top four. I dare say it's the biggest occasion since I've been playing. That us and Carlton there, and all the supporters, all the fans. As I said, it's going to be an awesome game to be a part of.
I know you're a day by day guy, but at the start of the year, if you thought top four, would you have had a quiet moment and thought, don't get ahead of yourself?
If you had said to me like I could play for a top four position last game of the year, I would have taken it every day of the week.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
The turnaround at
we've-
Collingwood
Yeah,
is
we've done a lot of work to get
Oh,
into this position. And,
phenomenal.
I'm really looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be a great day.
Well
Another
done, mate.
Interesting talking point, just looking forward a week. Geelong have guaranteed a home final, and the most likely outcome is that they'll play you or Fremantle. And that game, based on the precedent from like 2019 and earlier, is that Geelong would play Collingwood at the MCG, which obviously is a huge benefit to you. But do you think they have earned a right to play a home final at Cardinia, or do you think that's what should happen?
I don't really understand. I feel like it's hard for us to probably play there because we've never played there.
Yeah.
So whenever we play them during the year, if it's their home game or ours, it's at the MCG.
Mm.
So it'd be like I've never played in a home away game in Geelong
Ever?
ever.
Are you
Wow.
kidding?
Never played there for a home away point. So I feel like it'd be a really big home ground advantage.
Have
And I
you
know
ever been to that ground?
I've played a pre-season game there.
Yeah, right.
I was the sub, so I only played about half. So I feel like that would be a huge home ground advantage for them if it was there. And I know that's like they finished on top, but it's like
Yeah.
I've never played on that ground in 17 years.
Yeah.
So it's
That
sort
is
of like-
phenomenal.
yeah. So whereas like Fremantle do play on that ground once a year.
Yeah.
And
And they played a final.
there. Yeah, and they played a final on that there.
2013.
So yeah, I feel like if it's 1v4 and we're there, it will be at the MCG. And if it's not us and it's Fremantle, it'll probably be at their home ground in Geelong.
Yeah.
Well done, mate. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
week.
Cheers, you too.
Chat to you next
Thanks,
week.
guys.